Coast Guard Vice Admiral Joseph Macelones COYME was born on 14 July 1969 to Second Lieutenant Martin Tanqueredo Martin, Philippine Army, retired, and Mrs. Norma Taipal COYME. Fondly called Otep by his close friends and family, Coast Guard Vice Admiral COYME, along with his 4 brothers and 2 sisters, was raised in a humble home inside a military camp, formerly known as South Com and now named West Mincom in Zamboanga City. With her father, proud Musang, or Army Ranger, the COYME siblings were taught perpetual values to which they have lived by. The value of discipline and respect, especially towards the elderly. They grew up to be God-fearing and professionals who have valued the importance of education. These values guided them as they became consummate professionals in their chosen careers. Coast Guard Vice Admiral COYME and his brothers Jose and Julius have chosen to follow in the footsteps of their father as members of the uniformed service. The 3 siblings graduated from the 3 premier uniformed service academies in the country: the Philippine Military Academy, the Philippine Merchant Marine Academy, and the Philippine National Police Academy. Prior to entering the PMA, Coast Guard Vice Admiral COYME was the Corps Commander of the Western Mindanao University under the ROTC program of the Philippine Air Force from 1989 to 1990. It was during this time that he gathered all the strength to invite his longtime crush, his kababata and neighbor, Miss Aida Faderogao, to be his ROTC sponsor. Eventually, Miss Faderogao became his cadet girl at the Philippine Military Academy. They have been happily married for 27 years and proud parents to their único hijo, Joseph Anthony, and a nursing student of Ateneo de Zamboanga. Coast Guard Vice Admiral COYME is a proud member of the PMA Bantaylaya class of 1994. Out of 225 cadets, he was among the 10 who joined the Philippine Coast Guard, then under the Philippine Navy. Understanding the importance of education, he completed his Masters of Shipping Business Management at the PMMA. He also took up units in Masters and Doctors in Public Administration. Currently, he is taking up Doctors of Philosophy in Development Administration, major in Public Governance at the Philippine Christian University as part of his continuous quest to seek for higher learning. Coast Guard Vice Admiral COYME's career in the Philippine Coast Guard is a classic example for those who wish to follow in his footsteps. It is important to note that in the PCG service, an officer must satisfy his billet assignment as Station Commander, Command at Sea, District Command, and functional commands in order for him to be competitive and be qualified to assume major positions. Indeed, Vice Admiral COYME successfully completed all the needed defining career billet assignments in the PCG. He served as the Station Commander of CGS Mapun, CGS Pagadian, and CGS Cotabato. He complied his command at sea on board 3 vessels: MCS 3004, BRP Romblon SARB 3503, and BRP EDSA SARB 002. And commanded 2 Coast Guard districts: Coast Guard District Northwestern Luzon and Coast Guard District Southwestern Mindanao. And now, the incumbent commander of Maritime Safety Services Command. Other notable positions critical to his career he once held were Coast Guard Public Information Office, Chief of Coast Guard Staff for Personnel, CG1, and Human Resource Management Command, HRMC. Interestingly, Coast Guard Vice Admiral COYME was designated as a commander of Task Force Maharlika II, wherein he managed and orchestrated the successful mass rescue operation to the 121 passengers of the ill-fated MV Maharlika II that sunk in the waters of Surigao Strait in 2015. He also played a vital role in Task Force Sigip that successfully rescued two PCG personnel abducted by the dreaded Abu Sayyaf group in Jolo, Sulu. During the early stage of the pandemic in 2020, he was the first designated senior officer to handle the RT-PCR special unit of the PCG. The greatest challenge during that time was on how to organize quickly and to conduct RT-PCR tests to the 35,000 returning overseas Filipino workers quarantined to the 192 different hotels located in NCR, Cavite, and Batangas, including also the daily demand of the returning OFWs at the International Airport, mass testing at Palacio de Maynila, and the 26 cruise ships anchored at Manila Bay. Today, Vice Admiral COYME has been performing as commander of Task Force Kaligtasan sa Karagatan that is responsible for initiating programs that promote safety of life at sea, as well as integrating PCG resources to provide necessary aids to navigation to critical sea lanes of the country. In 2022, under his sterling leadership, the Task Force KSK was able to successfully install 5 ocean buoys in 4 islands located in the West Philippine Sea: Lawak, Likas, Parola, and Pag-asa. His task force was also successful in installing 4 lanterns in Batanes group of islands, specifically Itbayat, Sabtang, Ibana, and Mahatao lighthouses. These aids to navigation installed in the outlying areas of the country will serve as a sovereign marker, and since their installations have become the source of national pride of all Filipinos. He also has undergone various local and foreign trainings, notably the Commanding Officer Package Course in Coast Guard Fleet in 2008, U.S. Coast Guard training for PCG trainers in Newport, Virginia in 2017, Defense International Training Orientation or DITC program in Melbourne in 2016, International Search and Rescue Forum in Taiwan in 2014, and Maritime Security Cooperation Workshop in Sydney, Australia, 2016. In 2017, he was one of the key officers who visited Russia, China, and Israel in line with the PCG's modernization program. He represented the country in the Global Coast Guard Summit held in Tokyo, Japan in 2017, served as acting governor of the RECAP in Singapore, and represented the Philippines as head of the delegation during the annual Maritime Safety Committee at IMO headquarters in London 2022. With almost 3 decades of service, Coast Guard Vice Admiral COYME greatly contributed in the growth and development of the PCG as a relatively young and dynamic organization. He is known to play the key role in drafting the Rationalization Plan of 200 and the Table of Organization and Equipment of 2017 that triggered the exponential growth of the PCG as a meager 3,000 personnel in 1998 to 26,430 strong personnel, a number that is still expected to grow in the coming years. The well-decorated Vice Admiral was also recognized by the PMA as a Distinguished Cavalier Awardee in 2017 for the Field of Coast Guard Operation, the highest recognition given to its alumnus for outstanding achievements in their field. In 2022, his story as a first commander of PCG Task Unit RT-PCR was chosen to be included in the first edition of the PMA book entitled More Than Just a Motto: Stories of Courage, Integrity, and Loyalty. With 2.5 years remaining in the service, Coast Guard Vice Admiral COYME still has big dreams for the PCG as he envisioned a modernized Coast Guard, which is highly equipped and capable to discharge its mandate effectively and efficiently. He further envisioned the PCG to be manned by competent, disciplined, qualified, and highly skilled PCG personnel who are the main drivers to make the PCG relevant, reliable, and ready at all times. This dream could be made possible if the PCG is supported by the Coast Guard Modernization Law. To sustain its growth and development, and the implementation of Coast Guard Functional Service Specialization. In his remaining years, Coast Guard Vice Admiral COYME vows to be a proactive tool in the realization of Coast Guard modernization and to serve more with passion and commitment.